Hello friends, this is Kulbir and this is in response and rebuttal to Ron Banerjee and Mr. Stephen Garvey. Ron Banerjee from RISE Canada, Mr. Stephen Garvey from National Citizens Alliance here in Canada, about a video that they've made about me, calling me a Sikh radical, and in the video they have termed me, branded me, labeled me, profiled me as a Sikh supremacist. Well, thank you friends, thank you, I love that compliment. I love playing with these words, and thank you for putting me, aligning me with the word supremacist in some form. Thank you very much. Ron, thanks a lot. I play a lot with the words like racist and supremacist because these basically are used today to put down one culture towards the other and things of that nature. We all know that. Nobody's a racist here in Canada, for example, but Canadians, the Canadian mainstreams are also called racists for no reason at all. For no reason at all. They're the most accommodating, yet they are still called racist. So if I'm called supremacist, thank you very much, friends. I love it. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you very much, Ron, for giving me a little bit more exposure to what I keep saying. And thank you that I'm also on your channel. Thanks a lot. Of course, I'll offer you a rebuttal of what you have told you, what you've said to me, about me. Let's get into it. Now, Ron, had you said something about me personally, that was okay. I could have said, okay, let's meet for coffee, Ron. Let's catch up, let's patch up, let's discuss what's it. But you have talked on Sikh narratives as well. And most of your videos on Sikh narratives, things like turban, things like accommodation into Canadian workplaces and the army and the RCMP, or the motorcycle cases or the workplaces and so on. Now let me begin with my own turban case. I am an engineer from India, of course, and then I've done my, it's all assessments have been done, and I'm like an accredited engineer, and I can't here in Canada work in my own field. I'm an industrial engineer, but here in Canada I'm not allowed to work because of my turban, and today I don't have a job. So I have remained committed to my own culture, but also I don't have a job, which means it's okay for me not to have a job here in my field. My own case in the kind of a lobbying that I had to do myself as a Sikh to get accommodated here, it's a long story, but let me officially now thank Mr. Stephen Garvey, who has been helpful to me in, that's something that no one else did for me, and Mr. Garvey has done that for me, and indirectly or directly for the Sikhs. When I met him first in 2015, and I was his political campaign manager for his election, and I still wish that he is elected as a member of parliament, because he's working for Canada essentially. He is misunderstood many times, but I think he's a great guy. He's from Oxford, and he's a well-educated guy, and he'll bring a good change to Canadian politics. My own turban case was in Fort Mac, where I wanted to work as an engineer, and not even as a bus driver I was allowed to work with my turban. And I felt very bad that here in Canada all my degrees are there and nothing is happening for me. So I happened to meet Stephen Garvey, and we talked, and he says, give me about a week and I'll explore this issue, and exchanged with him about the Sikh contributions in the world wars, how the Sikhs fought for the British and the Allied forces in both the world wars, and 83,000 Sikhs died fighting for the British and the Allied forces in these world wars. And all of this, the Sikh contribution, how they were in the Canadian armies and they fought, all of this, and he understood it very well. And he said, give me about a week, Kulbir. If I resonate with this matter, let me delve into it. I surely will help you, and I will come out with something that I can do. So he's the one who brought out a statement in the Sikhs' favor, saying that Sikhs should be allowed to work in the workplaces with the turbans. However, all the things like this financial waiver, insurance policies, they need to be all taken care of. And so long all of that is taken care of, or the Sikhs pay themselves, stuff like that, they should be accommodated. So I owe, or the Sikh community owes a thanks to Stephen Garvey for saying all these things. And also, he also did a lot of other I would say nobody in the Sikh community has done such things that Stephen Garvey did for the Sikh community. But Ron, me the Sikh supremacist, wants to say that our Sikh community has not thanked Mr. Stephen Garvey for what all he has done for anyone else as well, but also for the Sikh community. Me, Sikh supremacist, wants to say that we have an onus, even today, to thank Mr. Garvey for what he's done for the Sikhs. So Mr. Garvey, I know you've evolved from a socially left kind of a bias to a right bias, which is okay, because I feel that our communities have not done enough to stand, to get involved, to thank, to be grateful, to communicate, to write emails or respond to emails. Things of that nature are sadly missing in my own community, and hence Mr. Garvey today, I find him to be a right-wing, socially right-wing, just because of our own, like the ethnic people, myself, my community has not thanked him for that. But Mr. Garvey has evolved into the right wing now, which is okay, I guess. So Ron, so when you say a Sikh supremacist, let me just also explain to you, I'm also a Nigerian supremacist. I'm a Christian supremacist, and I'm a South African supremacist. Yes, I'm a Sikh supremacist as well. Thank you. I have campaigned for human rights violations happening in different parts of the world, right? And I'm sure you'll not like it, because the Hindu-Sikh narrative since 4 centuries old are carrying on till today. So much of betrayal, so much of hypocrisy, so much of lies are all behind the narratives that the Sikhs have endured or face today, and the West doesn't know, because we Sikh guys, Punjabi guys, all we have to do is speak in Punjabi about the human rights or any perspectives or narratives that we carry in our hearts. Today on the world stage, we are just saying things in Punjabi. That's our, if my community gets to hear that, any human rights people or anybody who is involved in the Sikh affairs, it's a humble request to them, come out in English, say your stuff, share it. And that's our fault, sadly our fault, that we are speaking up on these issues only in the Punjabi language, and the West doesn't know today. So Ron, I think you should also tell about how the Hindu narratives, because you have been quite vocal. I'm noticing that you are against the Muslim community in general, and you are against now the Sikh community as well. All you want to say is things like Islamophobia. You are just rallying behind the white mainstream communities, telling them about one portion of the reality. You're hiding the fact that the Hindu kings for 300 years, they were in bed. They were politically in bed with the fanatic Islamists of those days, and they betrayed people like from the third king onwards, this after Humayun, Akbar, and then Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, and then the Bahadur Shah. All these kings, who were the Hindu kings married to? They were married to, their sons and daughters were married to these families. So they ran the show all together. Where were you guys at that time? Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, our 10th Guru, his entire family was wiped off. He fought 14 battles in defense. Who were the ones who were fighting against him? The Mughals, the Muslims? That's what we are told. Yes, that's correct. However, what is not told is the tens and tens of Hindu kings that were fighting against the Sikh Gurus, because they wanted equality. And equality in India doesn't exist today as well. There's Christian genocide happening in India. There is Muslim genocide happening in India. There is Sikh genocide happening in India. That is not okay. I am not saying promote all these cultures elsewhere. I'm not saying that. Don't misunderstand me or misunderstand me for the sake of doing it. Ron, you can do that. Very well do it. You have the rights to do that. You've been doing it. Do not for it. Do that. Please go ahead. Now talk against me, talk against the Sikh community, go next level, do whatever you want to do. I'm not saying that these communities should mass migrate. The problem is the failed nation that we come from. When are they going to resolve these matters? So I remember Ron and I had a little confrontation when my profile photo was actually an orange turban, which is symbolic of the Sikh faith, and saying a tagline saying, release Sikh political prisoners, and he felt very annoyed. How can you be a Canadian patriot if you're talking about the Sikh affairs? And Ron, What about your involvement with Hindu advocacy group in Toronto? Are you not running that? Why are you bringing Hinduism into Canada, may I ask you? I'm sure you are a Hindu supremacist, calling me a supremacist because I wear a turban. Yes, and Stephen, let's talk about the Kashmir thing, about the Article 370 that you mentioned, that I sided with Jagmeet or his brother, I mean, on the Kashmir issue. Yes, I do that because I'm just trying to set my camera here. Correct. Okay. So basically, if you say something to someone, you give a pact, you write a memorandum, it has to be followed, it has to be adhered to. Now, in 1947, this right was given to the people of Kashmir. Certain rights were given to the Sikhs. But what happens in the few decades that passed, these rights were taken away. Now, why? If a right is given to someone, it shouldn't be taken away unless a referendum happens. Now, if you're hating Muslims, I can't help it. If Article 370 has been given to the Muslims, it has to be respected. No matter who says it, Jagmeet or anybody, or you could say that, at least follow what you say. Betrayals have happened, so this needs to be stopped. I'm publicly in favor of, because I understand South Asian politics in global affairs sense, a little bit perhaps more because I have been born there and I understand that locally, and I have that understanding. Sikhs were given rights, they were taken away. Muslims were given rights, they were taken away. That doesn't mean that these communities should come here and mass immigrate. I'm not saying any of that. Don't misunderstand me. Please don't. That Jagmeet, for example, I've been saying that Jagmeet is not a terrorist just because he exposed the genocide in the Ontario Provincial Parliament. He's not given a visa to India. Just like Modi, the Prime Minister of India, when he was the Chief Minister of the state of Gujarat in India, he was not granted for years and years and years a visa or travel document to USA because he was involved in the killings of 2,200 citizens of India who happened to be Muslims. So these kind of communal politics are being played a lot in India, and I hope the West understands that how people are sort of made to fight against one another based on communal or religions or races and stuff like that. And this happens a lot. Christians are being killed in India. Nobody tells you that. So Jagmeet is not allowed to go to India because he exposed the genocide in India, in the Ontario Parliament. YouTube for that. And also, I'm not in for Jagmeet's party at all. So it's issue-based politics. They are not even for pipelines. They're just climate change radicals. I'm sorry, like I'm using a political term here, not you, the people. So basically, it's just an issue-to-issue kind of thing. I don't resonate with NDP at all. We make fun of this whole thing that they are doing to the Canadian economy, or they will do, and that's NDP has done to Alberta. But that doesn't mean I accept Jagmeet's branding as being an extremist or things of that nature. It's all propaganda. So guys, friends, thank you very much. I hope I've given some insight into these kind of issues, but a rebuttal to Ron Banerjee, who is a Hindu supremacist, advocating Hindu advocacy in Canada, and the agendas that they have. Look up RSS. He's also associated with HSS, which is the international wing of RSS. They are operating in 38 different countries, being patronized by the Hindu power centers to promote Hindu agendas under the guise of a lot of things, and they are trying to have social outreach and other economic outreach, and they're political in nature basically, and he's associated with them. So Ron, I think he should not be doing that in Canada. This needs to be stopped because we can't do anything about Sikhs here in Canada as per your logic. So you are associated with these HSS, RSS and your Hindu advocacy groups. You should have no rights to do that on the soil of Canada. I hope a rebuttal has been given to Ron so that he stops promoting such hatred towards other communities, to other communities who live in Canada, based on his one-point agenda of promoting Hinduism and siding with the West just because it's a marriage of convenience to you guys to align with the Islamophobia part and rally for your own agendas, promoting Hindu agendas directly or indirectly, especially indirectly. That's what they do. They have a longer plan to do things. I have a lot of insight into that, but however, that's not the subject of this topic. I've been triggered enough by these kind of hatred videos that are being promoted by Rise Canada. Thank you, friends.